There's something strange about the human mind. We dream of gods we've never met, draw symbols we've never been taught, and fear things that never existed in our own lifetime. It's like we're carrying memories that don't belong to us, ancient stories echoing through our blood. Maybe it's superstition, maybe it's memory, or maybe it's something deeper, something shared. Every civilization, from the Aztecs to the Greeks to the tribes of the Philippines, has imagined gods, monsters, and heroes that look suspiciously human. But what if they aren't just imagination? What if they're reflections, fragments of us, projected onto the universe like a mirror? Because today, we're diving into the hidden architecture of the human psyche, the place where myth, dream, and instinct collide. Let's start with Carl Jung, Swiss psychiatrist, student of Freud, and arguably one of the most influential minds of the 20th century. Jung proposed something radical, that deep within all of us lies a vast psychological ocean he called the collective unconscious, a shared layer of the mind that connects every human being. According to Jung, this isn't just a poetic idea, it's structural. Imagine your personal unconscious as a small island. Everything you've experienced, thought, or repressed exists there. But beneath the surface, hidden under the water, lies the collective unconscious, an endless sea of symbols, images, and instincts inherited from every human who's ever lived. He called these primal images archetypes. They're like ancient programs, templates for thought and behavior. The hero, the mother, the shadow, the trickster. You've seen them in every myth, every religion, every movie. These patterns shape how we dream, how we love, and how we fear. Every culture dresses its gods differently, but the core patterns repeat. The Christian god, Zeus, and Odin, they all embody the archetype of the Creator Father. Kali, Sekhmet, and Gaia reflect the mother and destroyer combined. The mind doesn't invent these figures, it discovers them, like finding statues buried inside a mountain. Now here's the twist. Jung believed these gods aren't literal beings. They're psychological realities born from the structure of our mind. He once said, "The gods have become diseases." What he meant wasn't blasphemy, it was observation. In ancient times, people met their gods in the wilderness or the temple. Today, they meet them in therapy. The same energies that built Zeus now manifest as ambition, ego, anxiety, addiction, or obsession. When you worship the god of wealth, you call it grind culture. When you surrender to chaos, you might call it self-destruction. The same forces, just renamed. Jung described the self as the totality of who we are, our conscious mind, our shadow, and the divine archetype within. To become whole, he said, we have to confront these inner gods, integrate them. Understand that every myth ever told was never about the gods themselves, but about us. When Gilgamesh sought immortality, when Hercules faced his labors, when Christ carried the cross, it was humanity dreaming of its own transformation. The hero's journey isn't fiction. It's the process of becoming conscious. If there are gods inside us, there are demons too. Jung called it the shadow, the side of ourselves we reject, repress, or fear. Every time we deny a part of who we are, it doesn't disappear. It festers. The more we push it down, the stronger it grows. And sometimes it breaks through in anger, cruelty, or obsession. Mythologically speaking, the shadow has many names: the devil, the trickster, the serpent. But it's never purely evil. It's necessary, because without darkness, there's no awareness of light. In Jungian thought, the goal isn't to destroy the shadow. It's to confront it, to integrate it. The warrior who defeats his enemy without knowing his own darkness becomes the very monster he sought to slay. And maybe that's why myths keep repeating themselves, because humanity keeps running from its own reflection. What about you? What archetype do you think drives your life? The hero? The lover? The rebel? Or maybe the shadow itself? Let me know in the comments. You don't have to look far to see the collective unconscious at work. Every story, meme, or viral trend taps into it. The hero complex fuels our love for superheroes. The mother archetype appears in our fascination with Mother Nature, Mother Earth, or even Mama Ru. The trickster thrives in chaos. Think of internet culture, where irony and chaos reign supreme. These aren't coincidences, they're archetypal. Humanity can't help but project ancient symbols onto new mediums. Even AI, algorithms, and social media personalities start to resemble gods, omniscient, invisible, capable of judgment. Every timeline, every digital space becomes a new Olympus. But instead of thunderbolts, our gods wield attention spans. It's as if we've replaced altars with algorithms. The worship never stopped. It just got Wi-Fi. Dreams, Jung said, are the royal road to the unconscious. But unlike Freud, who thought dreams were just repressed desires, Jung saw them as messages from the deeper self. Dreams don't use words, they use symbols. You dream of falling, drowning, or being chased, not because of random brain static, but because your psyche speaks in mythic language. When you dream of water, it might represent emotion. A forest might symbolize the unknown. A house could be your mind. And if you see a stranger who feels familiar, that might be an archetype showing up to say hello. The collective unconscious doesn't speak in logic. It speaks in stories. Every nightmare is a myth in miniature. Every dream is a scripture written by your soul. In the modern age, belief has shifted. Many claim the gods are dead, but their shadows linger. We may not worship in temples, but we still kneel before screens, trends, and ideologies. Every fandom, political movement, or brand carries the structure of religion: ritual, faith, hierarchy, and myth. Jung might say we didn't kill the gods, we internalized them. The archetypes didn't vanish, they adapted. The hero became the influencer, the mother became the activist, the trickster became the meme. Humanity can't live without meaning, and meaning needs myth. When science stripped the world of gods, psychology reintroduced them through the back door. Now they whisper through our subconscious, wearing modern clothes. And maybe that's why we still crave the supernatural, even in an age of logic. Because the gods aren't out there anymore. They're inside us, demanding to be recognized. At the heart of Jung's theory lies individuation, the process of becoming whole. To individuate means to reconcile the fragments within you, your ego, your shadow, your anima or animus, and yourself. Think of it like assembling a cathedral from within. Every stone is an experience, every carving an archetype. And when it's complete, the light from your own consciousness shines through it like stained glass. This is where religion and psychology meet. The hero's journey, the crucifixion, enlightenment, rebirth. They're all metaphors for psychological integration. The self is the God image inside you. To know it is to know the divine. But Jung warned, awakening this inner God isn't comfortable. It demands humility, sacrifice, and courage. In his words, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. In other words, to find the divine within, you must first face your demons. The collective unconscious suggests that all humans share a hidden language of symbols. And that's a beautiful thought, that beneath race, culture, or belief, we dream in the same tongue. It's the same serpent slithering through Eden, the same mother birthing the stars, the same flood that ends the world, and the same hero who rebuilds it. When we recognize this, myths stop dividing us. They start connecting us. Maybe that's what Jung meant all along, that the gods are psychological, not to reduce them, but to remind us they're eternal. As long as we exist, they exist, because they are us. And maybe that's the real divinity, our capacity to imagine, to fear, to create, and to destroy. So what does this mean for you? Maybe the gods you've been searching for have always been closer than you thought. Maybe the divine isn't something to find, but something to remember. The collective unconscious isn't just a theory, it's a mirror. Every myth you read, every dream you forget, every fear you hide, they're all reflections of the same timeless truth. Maybe humanity doesn't just tell stories. Maybe humanity is a story, one being written from the inside out. What do you think? Are the gods gone? Or have they just gone inward? Until next time, keep questioning, keep searching beyond the structure of what you know.